Hello, good afternoon. Thank you everyone for joining us this afternoon. This is, believe it or not, it's our 14th episode of the AECC Global Study This or That World Tour, focusing today on the topic of tickets to the 5G era. So this is a very hot topic, as you know. I think you can see it in a lot of the local newspapers in Singapore, Malaysia, Philippines, and Thailand, where the government is actually help promoting, 5G programs and so on. And this is just one of the total of 21 talks and 3 workshops of the World Tour. Now, for those of you who are not familiar with AECC Global, we are an experienced overseas education placement agency operating in 25 offices in 13 countries. We provide a one-stop shop of complete and comprehensive student services. And you can follow us on all the AECC social media and handles, or even visit our website to know more about us, and at the same time get updates of the latest education information. Today, we will be including some useful links in the chat box, so you can actually have a look at some of the information provided there. Now, this World Series has allowed AECC to proudly collaborate with almost 37 institution partners from more than 190 universities from 4 study destinations, namely Australia, UK, US, and Canada. And we are bringing these sessions to the comfort and convenience of your homes to keep you better informed and better prepared in your education journey and aspirations. So if you are exploring what to study, looking for credit transfer, planning to do what's next after your diploma, or you've just finished a bachelor degree, looking for a career switch, or deciding on another postgraduate course, I'm sure this series has something for everyone. Now for today, we have attendees from a few Southeast Asian countries. We'd like you to indicate which country you're from, and also whom you want to ask your questions to be answered. So if it is a cybersecurity question, or is it an artificial intelligence question? So you can abbreviate it, and then the speakers will answer it. So please tell us where you're from and also which city you're residing. Now, if you have any other questions throughout the session, please don't be shy. All right, feel free to drop it into the Q&A box. So the Q&A box is for you to put in your questions so they can get as many of your doubts cleared. At the end of the session, we would also like to thank you for your time today and get your feedback on the session. We'll be doing so by encouraging you to complete a short survey, which has only 5 questions, so that's not going to be too hard, where you can actually win a Grab voucher worth 80 ringgit or 30 Sing dollars, which we will be giving up to one of the lucky respondents. For our Thai listeners, all right, Sawadee Krap, all right, we'll be giving you guys 10 of you, all right? So very lucky if you can get a voucher of 2,000 baht. So if you choose to use AECC Thailand for all your educational services. So please stay with us till the end of the session. Now in today's session, you will learn about AI, artificial intelligence, and cybersecurity. What are these courses about? What subjects you'll be studying? Whether the scope of these courses met your passion or interest? What's the duration of the program? What are the entry requirements? How are the courses taught? Any professional recognition, career pathways, and opportunities? So without further ado, let's start today's session. So first of all, please join me in welcoming the speakers. For artificial intelligence, we have Dr. Tuok Tan Wing from Deakin University. Dr. Wing is the senior lecturer in the School of IT. And I believe that Dr. Wing actually worked for almost a year at Singapore University Technologies, the SUTD for a year, right? And the other speaker we have is from Edith Cowan University, Dr. Ahmed Ibrahim. He's the lecturer in computer and security. All right, so the 2 speakers will be joining us in this talk. Now let's start with Dr. Wing, all right? Dr. Wing, as you know, AI is such a big topic in a lot of the education scene, and it is a relatively new program compared to the traditional courses that students go abroad. So could you give us an overview what artificial intelligence is about and the industry? And what's the role that you will play for now and also for the future? What are the current demands and the future growth of it? Thank you.
Thank you and good afternoon, everybody. Just welcome you all to this section. And first, I just want to double check if you can hear me, if you can hear me clearly.
Yes, we can.
Okay, yeah, okay. So thank you for the questions. So first thing first, what is AI? When we talk about AI, what AI means. So I think the first questions we have to ask and answer when we study AI is what is the difference between us, human beings, and computers, or the difference between human beings and machines in general. The most important difference between human beings and machines is the intelligence that we have. And for thousands of years, people have tried to understand how humans think, how we perceive an object, how we understand a sentence, how we can predict an upcoming event based on our experience. And in a more general setting, how we can manipulate our world with lots of uncertainties and complicated things. So all of these questions will be answered in AI. So AI is a research field that attempts to understand the mechanisms of human intelligence, the way that humans think, and based on which to build intelligent entities. So AI can be used to improve the quality and productivity of industry by making industry smarter and more autonomous. And nowadays, we can see lots of applications of AI in every aspect of our daily life, from entertainment, from teaching and learning, from medicine and healthcare, and even in our living conditions. We have seen a lot of smart systems, smart cities, and they are products, they are the research outcome of AI. Robotics as well, we have seen a lot of application of assistive robots to help elderly and autonomous driving, which is very trending nowadays. So again, they are research outcomes of AI. We have often heard about Industry 4.0. So in Industry 4.0, AI plays a key role, and this is the heart of intelligence and smart systems. There is a strong demand of AI in industry in Australia, and the demand is increasing significantly day by day. And this is also true in other countries like the US, the UK, and European countries. So that is something about AI and some research trends of AI in industry in other countries, not only in Australia, but I can tell. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for this. Sounds like it's going to be a very big buzzword, right, in the industry. Over to you, Dr. Ahmed. Same thing, I think cybersecurity is also very popular. I think in Singapore, I mean, I can only speak from Singapore because that's where I'm based. We have actually a lot of cybersecurity hub being set up here. So it's a big thing. Would you like to share with the audience about the cost itself, what cybersecurity is about, and also what's the demand for it in the industry from now and for the future? Dr. Ahmed, I think you are muted, sorry.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you for the question and the opportunity, and I welcome everyone in the forum. Yes, so before I go into the course details, obviously cybersecurity is a hot topic on everyone's mind, especially nowadays with the media reporting various, cyber attacks on different organizations, and especially the cyber criminal industry has been booming as a result of this COVID lockdown, because most of us are now working from home, online, everything is connected. Earlier, Dr. Tan mentioned about Industry 4.0. We have factories being connected to the internet, critical infrastructure being connected to the internet. So, and even the watch that we wear on our wrist, that is also connected to the internet. So we are living in a very highly connected world now. And this is increasing the opportunity for the bad guys or the hackers to actually break into these systems and taking advantage of these systems. So cybersecurity is basically about making sure we protect our personal devices, our computers, networks, and the information which they hold so that they cannot be taken advantage of. You make sure your confidential information, personal information remain confidential. People who are not supposed to access it aren't able to access it. You make sure your online portals are available when you want to access it. For example, if you want to log into your online bank, you want to make sure the website is available. You don't want someone to bring it down. And you also want to make sure that when you make an online payment, you can actually trust in the transaction. So all of these things are ensured by the technologies, by the people that use it, and also the processes that are used in organizations to make sure cybersecurity is maintained. So in our course, we actually address all these elements to make sure that we understand all the threats that are out there. So how do the bad guys break into the computers? And we also make sure we can put in various security controls or mechanisms in our networks, in the organizations, so that we protect it from the various threats that we have from both from outside and inside. So things like ransomware has been like one of the biggest facing problems that's rampant across globally. The nature about cybersecurity is if you have an attack in one part of the globe, it can very easily translate back to the opposite side of the globe. A very quick example I want to share with you is the JBS ransomware attack. So JBS is one of the biggest meat producers in the whole world. There was a ransomware attack early this year, I believe, or late last year, in the headquarters in the US. And the same attack actually translated back into Australia, which actually locked up all the beef that we find in our McDonald's burgers. So you can see a cyber attack translating back to the piece of food that you're putting in your mouth, right? So that is the huge significant impact we have these days. So that makes the industry very in demand. And unfortunately, we don't have enough graduates to fill that demand in the industry. So the companies are looking for properly trained graduates and professionals to fill in those roles so that they can protect their information assets from the bad guys that are out there. So that's basically why cybersecurity is so important. And with the way technology is progressing, this industry is going to remain relevant and on the top of everybody's mind in the decades to come. So this is just similar to the AI domain. I think cybersecurity is going to be one of those hot topics that's not going to go away. So it's going to stick around. I hope that answered your question.
You have indeed. That's very good illustration of the impact of the program for now and for in the future as well. Back to you, Dr. B, can you just share with the audience what kind of subjects would the students be studying, for artificial intelligence? Is it a very theoretical program, or is it a very, program where there are a lot of internship or practical and so on? Particularly at Deakin, and what about the facilities and also the teaching staff? And perhaps you want to elaborate a bit about the opportunities for students. I mean, Dr. Ahmed talked about, the job prospect seems very, promising for cybersecurity. Is that the case in artificial intelligence? And also maybe you can just touch on, what would you be looking out for in terms of admitting students for these programs, in terms of, are they supposed to be, very so-called creative people looking outside of the box? You mentioned a number of illustrations that AI has in medical field and, in the geriatrics, departments and so on. So could you just share with us about that program?
Okay, sure. Yeah, sure. Excuse me. So first of all, I would like to introduce some program at Deakin University. We at Deakin University, we offer several programs related to AI. For undergraduate level, we have the Bachelor of AI. Bachelor of AI is the 3-year full-time course with 24 credits. Each year, students have 8 credits. And students can learn either in online mode, or we call cloud mode, or onshore, or we call on-campus mode. AI course equips students with the knowledge and skills to design, develop solutions with latest advances in AI. And our program helps students to get hands-on experience in developing AI-driven solutions with the support of our academics, who are leaders in this emerging field. Our world-class research in AI fits directly into our classroom, ensuring what students learn is at the cutting edge of industry expectations and capabilities. Our students will have access to fully equipped modern and advanced computer labs, and will also have opportunities to obtain well-recognized certificates from the training program for Microsoft Azure AI. At Deakin University, with a minimum of 100 hours of industry experience, students will develop in-demand skills working side by side with experienced AI specialists. How to make it? We offer two types of programs to engage students with industry experience. The first program is internship or industry placement. So in this program, students will choose a company to do internship, or we can introduce students to some of the companies that we have linkage. And this internship can be vary from 4 to 12 weeks for unpaid internship, or 1.5 months to 12 months for paid internship. And another type is the final year industry capstone programs. So in these programs, our lecturers, our professors, we bring some industry projects from industry to the school, and students will join in real world and industry relevant IT projects. And from this program, students can gain a lot of knowledge and skill, especially skill related to industry, which is really good for our students. We also have postgraduate level program. We have the Master of Applied AI. This is the master by coursework, and this is a 1-year full-time course with 8 credits. In this program, students will learn how to apply advanced knowledge of AI to the research and evaluations of AI, and explore the complexities of introducing AI solutions in a human context, both from an ethical and an engineering perspective. We have some advanced level units. For example, deep learning, which is very trendy, computer vision and speech processing, which is my research of interest, reinforcement learning, human-aligned AI, engineering AI solutions. We also have higher degree research for those who want to pursue high degree research in AI. For example, the master by research or PhD. These are the programs that we offer at our university. So you have a question for me about who is the right person to study this program, is it right?
That's right.
Okay, so for these questions, my answer is that everyone who have passion in AI, who are keen to see how AI can be applied in real world, and who want to see how AI technology can be built and can be used to change our world. For those who have had a computer-related degree, for example, degree in computer science, we have some pathways to the Bachelor of AI. For instance, students can transfer to the Bachelor of AI from a related degree course, like Bachelor of Computer Science or the Bachelor of Information Technology. And for those who have completed a diploma or advanced diploma from a degree partner, they will be eligible for recognitions of their study, definitely. So does it answer your question?
Yes, you have. What about the Masters of AI you talk about, which is the 1-year program? Do you need, what sort of degrees that students are eligible for that? What sort of bachelor degrees are you looking out?
Okay, yeah. So I just want to confirm a bit here. So the term may vary from 1 year or 1.5 years or 2 years. It depends on the background student. Okay. So for example, if the student finished their bachelor in AI already, then it is straightforward for them. However, for those who completed a degree in computer science or information technology, then they need to study something which is called pre-master. So in the pre-master course, we provide some units which are necessary for the degree of master in AI. So like, for example, they may need to study something about mathematical modeling. They need to be equipped, students need to be equipped with some background in mathematics and programming as well. Yeah.
I see. Okay, that's good. So thank you very much. Dr. Ibrahim, same question for you. Could you share with us, about the cost structure of the cybersecurity program? How are the costs being taught at native core universities? Is it a very theoretical or lab-based program? And what about internship, which Dr. Wing shared that they have at Deakin University? And also, at the different level, bachelor and masters, is there anything that the students should be that you are looking out for in terms of enrolling these students? Subjects background, interest backgrounds, or things like that. That would be great if you can give us some highlights on that. Thank you.
Okay, so with regard to cybersecurity, I think let's start from the end. Once the student graduates, what are employers looking for? So when someone's employed as a cybersecurity professional, what they're looking for is someone who can actually do the things which they say they can do practically. So if you say you can protect a computer network, you need to be able to practically demonstrate it on day one that you can actually do that. Of course, there will be room for improvement and learning on the job. So therefore, there's a significant focus on hands-on practical activities in our cybersecurity programs. So we have a strong emphasis on the various stages where during the first year, for example, in the undergraduate course, you are taught the fundamentals or basics you need to learn. And the first year is actually a common year that is shared across the IT and the computer science undergraduate programs. And second year onwards, second year and the third year, you move on to the specific cybersecurity courses. So it keeps on building upon those skills that you learned earlier, and then it keeps on progressing through the semester. So for the undergraduate, I think any school leaver or anyone who is going into the academic university life for the first time, I think that's a great course to actually go into. So you can be from any kind of background, because our first year takes care of that, teaching the basics so that you can hit the ground running when you go into the cybersecurity units in the second year. In terms of, I mentioned about hands-on practical activities. So on our campus, we have the state-of-the-art facilities with very high-end computers and all the required softwares that we need. However, we also recognize that now we have lots of students who are doing remote learning, who can't be on campus for various reasons, which we are all very aware of nowadays. And our courses have been designed even from the beginning with that sort of focus in mind. So we've been doing remote teaching even way before COVID hit. So our cybersecurity program was fortunately in a very good position when disaster struck. So because of that remote element, we want to make sure that students who are doing remotely have the equal learning experience as those who actually attend on campus. So if you are doing some practical cybersecurity workshop in the lab, you can do the same lab even though you are on, remotely from another country or on the other side of the Australia. So, and one facility that we are increasingly using is the Azure cloud platform, where we have our virtual laboratories already set up for students. We have all the required software installed, ready to go. All they have to do is just remotely connect into the virtual lab, and then everything you need is there in place. You don't need to download, install various complicated software. So this is common for most of the units that we have. Sure, there may be one or two units that you still may require specific setups on your own computer. So, but we are increasingly using that sort of thing. So that is common across the undergraduate course as well as the master's course. Something that's different in the master's course is the master's course is designed, the Master of Cybersecurity course is designed so that anyone coming from who already has an undergraduate degree, regardless of background, they are able to join into the course. because someone might want to switch professions, and even in my postgraduate class, which I've taught in semester 1, I've oftenly found lawyers or dentists or medical doctors who actually come in and join in during the first semester. And when I ask, what are you doing here? They said they want to change profession because cybersecurity is the new thing, So the course is designed so that even if you are from a different background, you can still come in and then, keep up with the rest of the students who may already have some technical background. So you're not disadvantaged that way. So I think those are some of the key things you should probably remember. And one of the selling points, I think, from our teaching program is that ECU is the only Australian university for the past 14 years have been receiving the 5-star teaching quality ratings, right? So very few people can say that, and that is because of our commitment to making sure students are getting what they are promised in the courses. And just one additional thing is that ECU is only one of 2 universities who's been awarded the Academic Centre of Excellence for Cybersecurity by the Australian government, which means that we've received significant funding to actually develop graduates so that they are quality graduates ready for the job industry, which we so, greatly, that is so much in demand right now and require. I hope that answered your question from earlier.
You have indeed. Well, I mean, that's what we are also doing at AECC, to actually, when students think of certain programs, they associate a university with it. There's a top of mind, like cybersecurity is so-called owned by, in some ways, by Edith Cohen University. Dr. Ibrahim, before I move on to Dr. Win, this cybersecurity program, how portable is it? Like in terms of recognition, the qualification that they get, is it instantly recognized when they go over to US or UK? Do they have to do any courses on ethics or anything to actually make sure that they can actually move across the continents?
No, it really doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. The qualification you get from ECU is globally recognized. The skill sets that you learn in the cybersecurity course is transferable regardless of, because the unique thing about cybersecurity, it's not an Australia problem, it's a global problem. So we make sure students are ready regardless of where they are. So it really doesn't matter. So if you have a qualification from ECU, you have the same standing as any other place globally.
That's good. Well, I shall look at the Q&A box because I think there are questions coming up, which are questions to follow up on some of the things that Dr. Wing, you talk about. So the first one is on AI. Some universities has AI offered as a major under engineering or computer science. Does AI at Deakin differ from these universities?
Okay, so thank you for the questions. The difference between our degree, our AI and other universities' AIs, lie on the fact that we would like to provide a very direct way to AI. Okay, so of course, students need some basic and fundamental knowledge, which is shared among AI, information technology and computer science. However, we want to teach students with very trendy topic in AI so that, after graduate, they can directly go to work. And of course, we also provide students with enough knowledge, background knowledge, so that they can do further research if they want to pursue their degree, a high degree research.
But is it taught as an engineering degree or a computer science degree, or it's not? Oh,
this one is okay, so let me tell you something. So in Australia, all the bachelor degree are in 3 years. Okay, so unless that you do like honors, and honors is you have to do the 4th year after the first 3 years. So for whatever the things that you do with engineering, it says 4 years. Yeah, so engineering in Australia is 4 years, and 4 years is equivalent to honors. Okay. So let's say, for example, at Deakin University, we have the Bachelor of Computer Science 3 years, Bachelor of Information Technology 3 years, Bachelor of AI 3 years, but Bachelor of Software Engineering is 4 years. And we say that Bachelor of Software Engineering with honors. Yeah. So coming back to your question, Bachelor of AI is just like other bachelor degree. So it means that we have only 3 years. This is not engineering.
Okay, that's good. Yeah.
Thank you.
So the next question is for both of you, actually. It's quite a long question. Let me just read through it. I would like the speakers to share their experiences in terms of career. Does AI or cybersecurity can only seek career opportunities in IT or technology-related companies? As my understanding, there's lots of non-technology based companies who are massively hiring people in these areas. But would the nature of the job be narrowed only to business area based on the company? And is it good for us to plan to study technology? Maybe Dr. Ibrahim would like to answer this question about, how the cost, sits in the, I guess, in the job market, and what kind of companies do they have to be careful for going to a non-tech company, or in this case, I think he mentioned about the business companies as well.
Yeah, thank you. I think that's a very good question. I think when somebody says cybersecurity, we immediately imagine someone wearing a hoodie on a computer trying to hack into somebody's computer, right? So
I was expecting you to wear one today. Sorry.
I forgot my hoodie. Actually, cybersecurity is a lot more about breaking into computers or networks. It also includes digital forensics, doing cybercrime investigations, calculating risk in business organizations. So there's a whole range of career opportunities within the cybersecurity domain. I think it's probably Hollywood media that's popularized the aspect of hacking into things. But what about when somebody breaks into your computer, who goes and do the investigation, right? So that defensive side has got so many other roles to play as well. So when looking at career prospects, the biggest employers are actually not the technology companies. These are the companies such as mining companies, such as banks. So places where actually you have real world impact and who value people's confidential information, the way society runs, so it doesn't have to be specifically a technology company, because cybersecurity is needed in those various companies. In fact, one of our biggest employers of our graduates and one of our biggest supporters in our work integrated learning program, or collaborating with us with various final year projects, involve these mining industries, banking sectors as well. So to give you just a very short answer, no, it is not specifically technology company. If you are into intelligence investigation, you could get a job in the police, in defense, if you're a citizen, of course, in the ASD or the intelligence community as well. So the skill sets you learn are relevant across all these domains. Yeah, so sorry, I didn't get I kind of forgot the last part of your question. What was the other part?
He mentioned that companies are, massively hiring people in these areas, but would the nature of this job be narrowed only to the business area of the company? And is it good for us to plan to study technology? I guess, I think it's the application of within the company itself. Where would this course be? Where would the person be fitted in? Is it in the business side or in the technology part of the big company itself?
Yeah, so what in a typical enterprise environment, what I found most was, some of the hot areas where fresh graduates go into is what's called a blue team. A blue team is your incident response team, which actually looks through monitors, look for various anomalies, any potential attacks, and then make sure the defenses in your company is in place. And so these big companies such as banks or mining companies, they have dedicated teams that actually do this job. So that is one aspect that I can actually think of. The other part is related to the risk and governance. You want to make sure the work that you are doing the information that you store and process are up to the standards by the regulatory bodies, by what government requires you to do. So that can be part of the operations side or the risk side in various organizations. So it's not, the short answer is no, not specifically technology specific. How the course is designed is it teaches you the technology part, right? It teaches you the soft skills you need so that you are successful as a graduate. So so that would be my response to that question. Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Ibrahim. What about AI, where it sits in the job market, Dr. Wing?
Yeah, so hello, hi.
Hi.
Yeah, okay. So we have strong demand in the job market for AI job, and as Dr. Ibrahim said, AI has a wide spectrum of applications. We can have AI application in medicines, in learning, teaching, educations, in we can find a lot of application in our daily life. So, and the same for the job market as well. So don't think that if you study AI and then you just do something like you just make robot. However, it also means that you can use AI technologies to solve the problem. Okay, so for example, we have AI for business, AI for laws. So, and even for one of the units, for one of the subjects that I am teaching at Deakin University, the subject is called computer vision and speech processing. So the way that when we design this subject, so we try to fit with different demands. So for example, students, after they finish this unit, they can become like research scientists. They can become a research engineer, software developer, or if if students are just interested in how to use AI technology to build their own solution, that's okay. So we provide a range of solution, AI solution, AI for them, and they can pick up the right technology to apply in their business, in their domain. So, and for example, currently I'm supervising one PhD student, and I co-supervise this student, and her background is ecology. Yeah. So don't just think that AI, if you do AI, that you are making robot. No, you can use AI to do a lot of things. And if you come back to the job market, especially the job market in Australia, you can see the variety of jobs related to AI. It's not only about research engineer or research scientist. We have a wide range of jobs. That's
great.
Yeah.
Well, we've got some questions coming up as well. And which actually bring us very well into the third section of the questions, which is on the entry requirements and the subjects requirement for the program. I think one of the questions on the screen that we have here is, does cybersecurity and AI share the same basic programming language? And what for the same programming language, what is the opportunities in other areas of technology? So that's one. And then there's a question on studying AI and cybersecurity. What subjects are required? From Albert Hong. So maybe Dr. Ibrahim, you'd like to tackle that one first?
Yes, thank you. So with regard to programming, like I said earlier, in our undergraduate course, the first year is a common year that sits with Bachelor of IT and Bachelor of Computer Science. And similar to most undergraduate IT related courses, there will be an element of programming. And specifically in cybersecurity, programming is a required skill. Although you're not becoming a software engineer who builds software, you still need to understand to do a little bit of programming. So the first year unit introduces you to basics of how to write basic code, how to design code. And I believe we use Python, which is a very popular programming language, which is used in so many other areas as well. So that level of programming is taught in your first year. So even if you did not have any programming knowledge, it really doesn't matter because we start from the very basics. And then I think the other part was advantageous masters after graduating a Bachelor of Cybersecurity. Sorry, I think I'm jumping ahead. Sorry.
Well, you can jump ahead. Well, maybe Dr. Wing want to answer the questions about programming language. Is there a so-called a requirement? And
you mean the prerequisites requirement that students have to know before they?
yeah, programming language. What would be? Would there be any advantage of them to have, some programming language?
Okay, so they okay, so student will be using Python. And for some projects, they use C++ and C# as well. However, I want to say that there's no prerequisites. Okay, so we train students. So it doesn't matter if the student know or they don't know. That's okay. Just one prerequisite for them is that they love in AI. That's it. Yeah, so that is a very important thing, and that is the motivation that they should have. Then don't worry, just come and then they will be trained.
That's great. Well, the question, next one we have is about cybersecurity. Dr. Ibrahim, is the Master of Cybersecurity needed if I plan to work in the industry? Would the Bachelor of Science Cybersecurity be sufficient in this case? Are there any advantages if I take a master's after I graduated with a Bachelor of Science in Cybersecurity? So I guess, basically, I think, do we really need a master's to go out and join the workforce?
Well, wow, that's a very I think this is a very difficult question to answer. I would say from the job point of view, I think whether you get a job or not is a different question. I think the question is, what level of job are you seeking? So typically what we find is students who do the master's course are slightly mature students. So they may already have a little bit of work experience in the industry, so that when they complete the master's course, they are able to go to a more senior kind of role. I'm not saying that you can't do a bachelor's and then do a master's and then go into the industry. I'm not saying that. Of course, things will vary from individual to individual. But the undergraduate course is, the roles that you will mostly fill will be those graduate opportunities. So there is that difference between them. But having said that, I just want to add that, look, at the end of the day, everybody wants to get a job. But I always tell my students on day one during orientation, you need to start preparing for that job interview from day one, which also means that while you are doing your course, you still need to be doing other kinds of extra learning on your own, taking that initiative. I think earlier, Dr. from Deakin University also mentioned that love for AI, right? So you have to have the curiosity or love for cybersecurity, for example, to solve problems, to go ahead and do those hacking activities on your own. So if you build your portfolio or your experience while you are a student, then you have a better chance of getting a job or that desired level of job once you graduate. I think it's very difficult to answer that. If you graduate, you'll get this, and if you do masters, you'll get that, because the job industry is very competitive now. You have to do a little bit more than just graduating with that piece of paper. And I just want to add one more thing is that, within our university environment, all the academics, we have close linkages with various industry partners, and somebody is always working on something, some kind of research project or topic. And we always get excited when students come to us and talk about their, crazy ideas and say, what can we do? How can we learn new things? And I think if you have that sort of curiosity, you'll also be exposed to more opportunities. So just a few general additional things I wanted to add into that question. Yeah, that's all.
Thank you. Well, we've got another very interesting question here for you, Dr. Ibrahim. What does a cybersecurity scientist do on a day-to-day basis? I guess the next question is, it sounds very passive, that you're sitting there waiting for a situation to happen and then react to it. Is that the case? You just sit there and wait for things to happen?
No, not really. I think the question was cybersecurity scientist. So if I'm specifically being, addressing as a scientist, that means you're somebody who is doing research. So cybersecurity research is about finding new things, finding new problems to solve. That's what a scientist does. So we are not just waiting let's wait till the lights run out, So we don't do that. We proactively try to solve those problems. And from a professional point of view, when you go into industry, there is an increasing push towards things such as threat hunting, for example, which means you proactively look for things that could potentially go wrong in your network proactively. Before the bad guys find out, you are looking for those problems. So that is the current trend, threat intelligence, looking for threats. And it's very easy for me to say that word, but every skills behind that single activity has got so many other things coupled to it, right? So no, it is not a passive thing. It is a very proactive, active thing. Yeah, but what an excellent question.
I think his imagination run wild. Yeah. Now, we have the next, because of the time, I was just thinking, things like entry requirements. Obviously, the other question would be scholarships, that both universities offered. You can find those in the links which the speakers' assistants are going to help to populate onto the chat box. So you can look it up for all the entry requirements, such as direct high school entry requirements like A-levels, IB. And if you have information about credits for those who have got some diplomas in computer science and so on, and want to move on to these programs, that'll be useful to populate into the chat box there. I'm sure some scholarships are very specific to the countries that are in this group, but there are also scholarships which are from the faculty and also for the nationality group as well. So if you can populate into the chat box there, then the audience can actually obtain the information there. Looking at the time, all right, there's also one interesting question, but in the chat box, which is actually talking about the Internet of Things. I think the question was that, I mean, both programs sounds very interesting, and I think I guess the student is asking which one should they join? Should they join study AI or should they study cybersecurity? And I guess I think in this so-called closing part of it, I'll throw the session to Dr. Wing to summarize, as a closing statement, why the course, and also more particularly why study at Deakin. Thank you.
Hello. So before I answer your question, so may I just answer one question that I just have missed? The question is that, sorry, the one who asked the question mentioned that IoT now is popular, and given that we should study AI or cybersecurity.
That's right.
So I can't tell you that both. It's impossible. It seems impossible. Okay, but I can tell you something like this. So AI and cybersecurity and even IoT, we have different interests. We solve different problems. However, we also have some common problems to solve. Okay. So for example, one of the projects that I have been doing is that we use AI technique to identify anomaly. So it means that we identify some abnormal behaviors. Abnormal behavior when they use the internet, something like that. Okay, so it's just an example to illustrate that we have some shared common interests as well. Okay, so you want to study AI or cybersecurity, you have to come back to your role to understand what you really want to do in the future, what kinds of application, what kind of business that you want to build, okay, and your career. And after you think about it, and then you can decide you study AI or cybersecurity. So now coming back to the question, so why study AI, especially AI at Deakin University? So, Deakin is ranked in the top 1% and is also very well-recognized university, well-recognized young university. Okay, so we are ranked in top 50 young university in the world. We have well-equipped and modern facilities for for learning and teaching. We have many excellent research centers, and we have world-class researchers. And our programs has been well recognized by the Australian Society of Computer. And all the facilities and all the opportunities that we provide to students and the industry engagements, I think that are selling points and good points that I can tell about my university. Another thing I would like to conclude here is that we also provide a wide range of services to help students with their career, okay, especially for international students as well. So that's all.
Thank you. And Dr. Wing, just curious, where is the program taught? You have a few campuses in Victoria. Is it taught at the Burwood campus or the what's the other one? Geelong campus, isn't it? I'm not sure where is it taught.
Okay, yeah. So we have in total, we have 4 campuses. One campus in Melbourne, the Burwood campus, and one campus in Geelong. Geelong is also the biggest city, is one of the biggest cities in Victoria State. And Geelong is about 80 kilometers from Burwood. Actually, I live in Geelong, so I really love this city. So we have one campus in Warrnambool, which is about 4-hour drive from Melbourne. And we have the second biggest campus, and that campus is Cloud Campus. Have you ever heard about Cloud Campus? Cloud Campus is mean that online campus. Okay, so
I heard about Deakin Cloud. So
yeah,
that's
we call Cloud Campus. And for the Cloud Campus, currently we have 17,000 students enrolled in Cloud Campus. We were prepared for the online program. So even the pandemic happens, we could run everything smoothly. Yeah, because we offer a lot of courses online. Students can use the Cloud Campus for online study. Yeah.
Thank you. So over to you, Dr. Ibrahim. This is like, making a closing statement to the jury, why study this program. So if you can elaborate, that would be grateful.
Yeah, I think Dr. Wing mentioned a very good point because, if, for example, just going back to IoT, cybersecurity, AI, we share so many common things, so there's that synergy there. But we do recognize the importance and prevalence of IoT. In fact, we started offering a brand new unit this year called IoT and OT security in our undergraduate course. And I happen to be the lecturer for that unit as well. So it's been received very positively with students, and they can see the relevance. The way we design our program is that we work very closely with the industry. And we take on their feedback. We look for what sort of qualities they look for in graduates when they're employing cybersecurity professionals. So that's why we continue to work with them in consultation to develop and improve our universities. Now, why cybersecurity and ECU? ECU has been teaching cybersecurity before the term cybersecurity was fashionable, right? We've been doing it for 2 decades, more than 2 decades. So what that means is over that long period of time, we have built those strong relationships with the industry. We have gained a reputation, a global reputation in cybersecurity. So when we have graduates coming out of ECU with cybersecurity bachelor's or master's qualification, they have that confidence that they can deliver. Like I said earlier, they're able to do the things which they say they are able to do on day one when they hit the ground running. So these are the things that make ECU the ideal and #1 place if you want to do cybersecurity in Australia. Earlier, Dr. Wing mentioned about the various campuses. We also have our programs running in Singapore as well as in Sri Lanka. So if you're a student based in Singapore, I believe our partner is PSB in Singapore. So if you have done a diploma qualification related to IT or computer security or computer science, you can join that program straight away into the second year in PSB or even in Australia in the undergraduate course. So those flexibilities are there. So I think I've spoken to most of the other points earlier. So feel free to get in touch with me or Natalie or anybody if you have any other questions following this session. Yeah.
Well, I can see that the chat box has got quite a number of links by both Deakin and Edith Cohen, so please feel free to look into it. Natalie has wanted to shout out something that they have at ECU for students who are very keen to talk to for so-called current students studying at ECU on the same program. They have a platform for that. So I'll just let Natalie to say, give us a brief intro, how this thing works.
Thanks, Daryl. Yeah, it's very exciting. We've just launched a new platform where future students can speak to and connect with current ECU students. We do have a really wonderful student named Daryl as well, yes. And he's from the Philippines studying the Master's Cybersecurity. So you can pop into the chat. I've put the link in our chat as well. Ask the student. And if you find Daryl, he'll be able to tell you more about his experience studying cybersecurity at ECU. But there's lots of different experiences that are being shared about Perth in general, or the campus in general, that I think you'll find really interesting as well. Thanks.
Thank you, Natalie. Well, on that note, please join me in thanking the speakers today. Dr. Wing, thank you very much, from Deakin University, Dr. Ibrahim from Edith Cohen University, and Natalie and Yuan from supporting their fellow colleagues here. Thank you very much. I shall now share screen and ask my colleague Sherry to share screen. But we're having another talk, believe it or not, we're working right through the weekend, so you can scan the QR code at the back. There's another talk starting at 4 p.m., which is on building transformers, all right? So that's on robotics and mechatronics and so on. So just a quick wind up. This is Pearson. Pearson is one of the English tests. So if you are looking at the English proficiency, all right, test to take, Pearson is one of the tests that we are working in partnership with for this event. So the test is provides a very fair, I guess, judgment of your English ability. But more importantly, I think the test results, which is available in 2 days' time, so making it quite a test that's popular with students. Yeah, next. And these are the universities, a large pool of universities. In fact, all the universities in Australia recognize the test itself. Yeah, next. And this is the free test samples and the app for it. So you can download that, scan it, and then use this code to log in for the test samples and so on. And this is the promotion that we have for our Thai students. Thank you very much, Sawadee Krap, for joining us this talk today. There is the 2,000 or Songpan, all right, vouchers for 10 students who actually use our AECC Global Thailand office services. Next. And this is a survey. So if you can, please help us to conduct, complete the survey. As I mentioned earlier on, there are prizes to be won, some Grab vouchers for you. And this is where we all are, all right? These are our contact details. So please feel free to, contact us. All our contact details are up here. If you need any help or any further advice, all right, or talk to a counselor, please scan the codes and get information from us. So on that note, all right, we've well, took us almost an hour. I think we are very good on timing. So thank you everyone for joining us, all the students out there. Thank you very much for taking your time off on a Saturday afternoon and joining us. Have a great day ahead. All right, have a great weekend and stay safe. And thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
And see you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.